Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission. It is December 18th. We're starting at 2:35 p.m. Can we go ahead and get the roll call, please?
Certainly. Commissioners Kalfayan,
Yes.
Meek,
Here.
Sardarbegian,
Here.
Wolfson. Here. Ex officio Commissioners Kevorkian,
Here.
Manassian is absent, and President Alcazar.
I'm here, thank you. Can we go ahead and move to the next item?
Sure. The agenda for the December 18, 2023 regular meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on or before Friday, December 15, 2023. Item 2, introductions and presentations. At A is introduction of new or promoted CSP employees.
Chair, Alcazar, members of the commission, for this month, we don't have any promoted CSP employees. We hope to have a few next month, so we would like to move with the next agenda item.
Thank you, Mr. Bulanikian. Next item.
Item 3, upcoming council agenda items.
Thank you, President Alcazar, members of the commission. Tomorrow, December 19th, we have one item. Resolution to authorize filing a grant application for Casey Stengel baseball field restoration through the California Department of Parks and Recreation Office and Grants of Local Services and acceptance of grant funds in the amount of $2 million. Resolution to authorize filing of grant application for Mountain Oaks open space acquisition through California Department of Parks and Recreation and accept grant funds in the amount of $2.5 million. Resolution of appropriation to appropriate the legislatively specified grant from the California Department of Parks, Recreation, and Office of Grants and Local Services in the amount of $2 million for Stengel Field Restoration Project. January 9th, we have one report for the joint meeting of Housing Authority and City Council, acceptance of additional homeless initiative Measure H funds for fiscal year 24-25. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Next is 4, commission staff comments.
Great. I will open the floor to my colleagues here.
You want to go for it?
Okay, two things. First of all, I'm really glad to see Acorn and Blizzard back on their volunteer in their volunteer positions. I always enjoy that a lot every year. The second thing I want to mention is Lot 11, which unfortunately was kind of shot down as a dog park location. But I want to maybe agendize or something, because I really want to see that piece of property earmarked to be a park. And I think it could be a park for people. I think it would be a lovely amenity for even, for the museum. A place for people to repair after visiting the museum, maybe have a picnic with their kids and talk about what they've seen. And just that part of our city is in desperate need of open space, especially that built-up downtown area where there's so many apartments. And so I just want to put that out there. I don't know if it's something that we can agendize or what our options are, but I feel extremely strongly about it. So,
Thank you, Commissioner Wolfson. Can I direct that question to the department to see how to best accommodate Commissioner Wolfson's request to move that item forward, either through our commission first and then to council, or?
President Alcazar, members of the commission, so something like this would need to go through a commission. We'll bring back a report within the next couple months regarding Lot 11. Depending on what the commission decides, then we'll take a report to City Council for their final review and approval.
thank you. I'd like to move that happen.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Meek, did you have a comment?
No.
Thank you. I've been to several events lately. The Sadeo Munamori tribute for our Medal of Honor winner was very moving. I was very happy to attend, very happy and glad that we recognize this person, even that it's been so long since World War II. It was great to have a couple of the veterans from the war who actually were able to be there, and his family members were there. I also attended both our neighborhood Hanukkah event and our neighborhood caroling event at Adams Hill. Both events had over 200 people. They were a lot of fun. Everybody had a great time and celebrating their holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Meek. Any other comments?
How about the comments about the Christmas tree lighting?
Yep, I definitely wanted to express a huge congratulations to the department for having a very successful annual holiday tree lighting ceremony. That was on November 30th. All the performances were amazing. I know some of my fellow commissioners were there, as well as a lot of our elected officials. The kids did a great job at all of the singing and dancing that they've been practicing, I'm sure, for months. So thank you again to the staff for continuing to bring back that annual event. Okay, we'll go over to the next item, please.
Okay, next on the agenda is item 5, oral communications, and we do have a card.
Correct. And just to check, did we have any callers?
We don't have any callers, no.
Great. So yes, I do have one card from Bill Neal, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Feel free to come forward and, share your comment with us at the mic. Thank you. You have, we'll give you 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yep.
Okay, it hasn't started. There it goes. Hello, I'm Bill Neal. I reside in North Hollywood. I've been an active member of the California Native Plant Society for decades. The president of the local chapter is Helena Bauman, right there, for the San Gabriel Mountains chapter. I'm also an active member of the California Native Plant Society, California Native Plant Council, and the Los Angeles County Weed Management Area. One question I have for you is, do you ever talk about the Verdugo Hills? I mean, you have six square miles, but I assume it doesn't get the amount of attention as any of your landscape parks. But there is a problem with invasive plants, and natural areas don't require mowing or trimming, but they do have invasive plants that, if not that otherwise from other continents, and they spread like cancer and can displace the native vegetation and degrade wildlife habitat if not unchecked. So since August, I've been communicating with several park managers, and by email mostly, except also I had a on-site meeting with Dennis Gaudenti in August. And so the areas on the east side of the Verdugo Hills by the Baudry Loop Trail, what you have there is a quite large infestation of Ailanthus, or Chinese tree of heaven. It's the most common invasive tree in the United States. There's 70 million of those trees growing in Virginia, and Virginia has a booklet on how to control it. This population is probably 1 to 2 acres, so it's quite large. And there are 2 other invasive plants in the area. I don't know how extensive they are. One is yellow star thistle, and the other is Spanish broom. They're both from the Mediterranean area. So I have, my history is that I've been a licensed herbicide applicator for 40 years. I started as a volunteer with the Bureau of Land Management for about nearly 20 years. I turned professional about 20 years ago, but I still do some volunteer work as a contractor or as a professional contractor, I work currently at Malibu Creek State Park. So I work in other counties, Riverside County, and some in Ventura County. Anyway, I have offered to the department to start a volunteer project on this problem, and we're now at the stage of negotiating a right-of-way MOU, and that requires insurance, and we're dealing with differences of opinion between my insurance agent and the city attorney. So hopefully that will be resolved pretty soon, and I can start next spring. So I plan to give this a couple years of attention, and I think I can do quite a lot to get it under control. I'm familiar with this plant. It's actually quite difficult to control if you don't know how to do it, but I have a lot of experience with it. And I'll give it to several years, and then long term, eventually I'll retire, and it'll be the department's problem, or you can hire a contractor or something like that. So I'm just introducing myself, and right now it looks like we're going forward, and that's good. And I'll be in touch with the city managers on how this is going. Any questions?
Great. No, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention, and for your attention to make our parks and trails a better space for our residents as well and visitors. We do have, a number of volunteer programs throughout the city that our Parks Department hosts to look at invasive plants specifically, right, by the river. I've volunteered before and picked out a few weeds by the Stone Barn, and I'm sure a number of our other parks. So again, I think we really appreciate you presenting this opportunity to the commission and the department. I wanted to give the floor to either my other commissioners or the director if you had any other thoughts on how this program will or could expand.
Sure. President Alcazar, members of the commission, we've been working with Mr. Neal. Actually, he reached out to us back in August, and I know Mr. Panosian, when he was here, and Dennis Condetti met with him a number of times via email and on-site with Dennis, and now Chris is working with him. So currently, the agreement is with legal. There are some insurance requirements that we are requiring as a city, but we're trying to get those waived, such as automobile and the pollution liability. But we're hoping that the contract will be, executed hopefully by, in the next couple months, by February, March, so Mr. Neal and his team can start working in spring. And if this is going to be a long-term agreement, a couple years, we will be, happy to work with Mr. Neal and his team and trying to assist any way possible to help our open space and the invasive plants that are growing in the area, in our region. So looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Okay, well, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Moreno Hernandez, is there any other oral comments on the table?
No, we don't have any other requests.
Great.
Moving on, item 6, consent items. Set A is approval of the minutes of the commission regular meeting held on November 20th, 2023.
Great.
I will move it.
I'll second.
And I'll take roll call. Commissioners Kalfayan,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Sarder-Begian,
Yes.
Wolfson,
Yes,
and President Alcazar.
Yes. Next
Item
item.
7, action items. At A, proposed fees for tennis court rentals on Glendale tennis courts. At 1 is a resolution establishing new fees for the rental of community tennis courts by instructors for the purpose of teaching to the public and recommending that the Glendale City Council incorporate into the comprehensive citywide fee schedule the changes made to the CSP department-wide fee schedule, effective January 18, 2024.
Good afternoon, President Alcazar and members of the Commission. I'm Gabrielle Golia, Community Services Manager. It's nice to see you here today. I am here with some proposed fees for the rental of tennis courts. And the purpose of these fees and this report is to establish something for the duration of the construction at Fremont Park, which includes the closure of the tennis courts. So I want to just start off by making sure that we're all on the same page, that we're actually not trying to establish rental fees for ongoing, everyday use and post-construction, because we certainly don't want to change our policies on how our community courts are allocated to the customers. This is a temporary fix for the construction periods so that we can assist with the loss of courts to the public. And I know that the Commission has received a number of emails in support of these fees and expressing some thoughts and opinions and wishes for the rentals. So hopefully we can address those here today, and I'll let you know what we're thinking. So Fremont construction did begin on October 16th. Included in that construction was the closure of 8 courts in Glendale. We have 33 total courts in the city of Glendale, so those are at 10 different parks. 8 of those 33 are located at Fremont. We do only have 3 locations that we rent out to the public. Those are through our concessionaires. The city doesn't actually rent them out ourselves typically. So Fremont had a concessionaire, Shoal Canyon Golf and Tennis, and then at Glorietta we have 4 courts that also has a concessionaire. The rest of the courts in Glendale are first come, first serve for the community at no fee. So since we closed down Fremont, we have seen, of course, an influx of customers who are saying, well, we want more court time. We lost our court time. When we lose that many in the city, it does have an impact. And at the same time, not related to us, but also happening concurrently, is the closure of Crescenta Valley High School's tennis courts. Those courts were open to the public, first come, first serve, in the evening hours after the school used them. That area is also under construction. I don't think it's the courts themselves, but they are closed because of construction in that area on the campus. So that just adds to our issue of losing court time in Glendale and available courts to the public. At Fremont, Glendale Tennis Academy was our vendor who ran those courts for us. They have held the contract there since 2014. We are nearing an end with that contract, and it will actually run out during the construction period, so the city does intend to bid that location out again once we reopen to the public. Glendale Tennis Academy is working with American Golf and Tennis right now up at Shoal Canyon in order to sublet the courts. They did begin operating them in November. They're currently working on finalizing their contract up there. Although they did accommodate the instructors that were there already to some degree, they weren't able to accommodate them to the same number of courts and time that they had previously. In an effort to find more court time for our instructors who have been impacted by all of these closures and shifting, we are hoping to establish a rental fee of $15 an hour for pre-existing instructors who have been displaced by the construction. We're not looking to bring on new renters. We're not looking to bring on new instructors. We're hoping to address the need for the instructors that are being impacted right now. So, we performed a benchmark study on other cities in the area so that we could make sure we really truly understand what fees are being charged for rentals, for instructors, for peak time, non-peak time. There is a lot of information on this chart, but for the purpose of today, we'll look at the tennis instructor rental rate. Many cities actually don't rent to the public for instructors. They run their own programs. But of those that do rent, Glorietta charges $10 per hour, Shoal Canyon is charging $20 per hour, and Los Angeles in Griffith Park, at Riverside and Vermont Canyon are charging $15 an hour. So we are proposing a $15 an hour fee. It is the average of those fees. We feel that it's reasonable based on what the other cities around us are charging and the other courts around us are charging for those courts. The rental of these courts to the pre-existing instructors will be held through or done through this Glendale Sports Complex. Staff up there will use the RecTrack reservation system in order to rent those courts out so that we can manage and monitor who's on the courts. Right now, we're looking at Oakmont tennis courts and Emerald Isle as two possible locations. Oakmont has 2 lit tennis courts, so we're looking at possibly renting one of those courts. That way we're not impacting the public too heavily because the community also uses those courts. So we certainly don't want to pass this problem along to the rest of the residents and impact any one neighborhood because of the closure at Fremont. And Emerald Isle also has 2 unlit courts. So again, we're looking at possibly renting one of those. We do have 2 courts at Montrose. Just want to bring that up. We use those courts for some city contract classes, as well as they're heavily used by the public. So we don't really want to displace people at that location more than they're already displaced. That, in a nutshell, is the presentation about the courts. And I'm sure you have some questions about this, so I'm happy to answer those.
Great, thank you. Why don't we just ask, I'm going to ask my colleagues to ask clarification questions to Ms. Golia about her presentation, and then we will go to public comment. So clarification questions only, get through that really quick, and then we can hear some thoughts from our visitors that we have today.
Just one quick thing. So we're talking about bringing 2 additional courts into circulation, one at Oakmont and one at Emerald Isle, which is kind of interesting. And then, but is Shoal now, so Shoal is kind of like off the table, or how's this going to work? Because it has a different fee. Are we just making the fees uniform across all of those parks?
President Alcazar, members of the commission, that's a great question. So Shoal Canyon is they're working with Glendale Tennis Academy. They are renting those courts on their own. So these fees that we're proposing today will have nothing to do with the time that instructors have at Shoal Canyon already, because some accommodation has been made at Shoal. So this won't affect those fees or any agreements that the instructors might have up at Shoal. This is to help offset the lack of time due to the closure of the 8 courts in Glendale, so it will only be a fee for the courts we bring into circulation, as you said.
Thank you.
I have a question. If Emerald Isle, if we're going to rent that out and an instructor wants to use that, will there be a sign posted that instructor, he or she, will be using it at certain times of the day or evening, as the case may be, so that the public knows that court will always be held off to the side?
Yes, President Alcazar and members of the commission, absolutely. We will post signs letting people know that the courts have been reserved when reserved. We do the same thing at Montrose already in order to inform the public that there might be a class taking place so that they know what to expect and they know that it is an authorized use of the court and that it's not just someone claiming to having given permission to be there, which does happen.
Okay. Will it be anytime, like basically when the parks are open, it could be from the time the park's open till the time the parks close, the instructors could have the use of that?
Theoretically, yes, although the majority of the time that has been requested of us thus far from the existing instructors is the after school and early evening peak hours. That is the time that kids are out of school and parents are getting off of work and are able to transport their children over for the classes. Mm-hmm. So we're primarily looking at a time period of 3 to 8 p.m.
Okay. And that would be 7 days a week, or weekends would be possibly different?
Correct, yes. Weekends could be longer. Saturday mornings in particular, maybe 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. is a peak time for lessons. Weekdays would be 3 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kalfayan?
I was thinking, can we work with the Glendale College or Unified School here we have? Do they have courts that they can let us use it?
President Alcazar, members of the commission, we have reached out to both the school district and the college, and we've also asked the instructors who have been trying to locate time to reach out to them. And the overwhelming feedback has been that they're also booked, although I am aware of one instructor in particular who we're focusing on with this, who's here today, and I know that you've received a number of emails about. They were able to secure some time at Glendale High School courts. So those are part of the mix. A big part of the challenge is that the instructor that you've received some emails about was getting 3 to 4 courts per hour at a time at Shoal Canyon. And although Shoal was able to accommodate them, it is a smaller number. It's 1, maybe 2 courts per hour. So they are looking for a couple of courts. So we're looking to offset that, and we're looking to help supplement that time that they were able to get.
Do we have a choice to use like neighboring cities like Burbank or other cities? Is that too far, or their park?
Yeah. President Alcazar, members of the commission, unfortunately, we don't have an agreement with other cities to be able to utilize their courts. We have encouraged anyone who's come to us looking for court time to reach out to other cities and see if they're able to secure their own time. But we don't have the ability to secure it on their behalf with a neighboring city.
Got it. Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Nope. All right. We'll go. Were there any other clarification questions? Here. Good.
I had one more. There are several places that have only a single court, and those are open to the public. Do we have rules and regulations on how long those courts can be used by the public?
Yes, although we don't have staff out there to actually supervise that and manage it on a daily basis, we do have a limit of 30 minutes for singles play and 45 minutes for doubles play if anybody is waiting. And that is to help manage the rotation of customers and residents through those courts. The idea is if somebody shows up and someone's playing, let's just say they just started playing, it gives them 30 minutes to finish that match, and then the next group would be able to come on if it's a singles match. So if we do receive calls at the Glendale Sports Complex with complaints about issues out there, or people who are instructing without permission and taking up and monopolizing all of the time on the courts, we will send staff out to gently remind them of the rules. They are posted, and let them know, oh, it's time to move along.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Everyone asked questions that I had, so we can go ahead and move to public comment. Thank you, Ms. Golia. And we have one card, request to speak in person. And do we have any phone calls?
Yes, we have one caller on hold.
Okay, great. So we'll start with our in-person guests, and then we'll go to our phone calls. I am going to ask Joseph Kim to come to the podium, please, and share your comment. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, okay?
Hi, my name is Joseph Kim. I'm one of the displaced tennis coaches, I guess you could call me. I started my tennis program in 2014, shortly after my father, who's here, was diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer. My dad has been an instructor in the city of Glendale, starting off at Fremont Park since 1986. So tennis and Glendale, it holds a very special place in our family. You know, this is like a real thing. You know, it's like a real family business, and we've been here for a while. You know, and so of the time that I've been teaching, I've been at Shoal Canyon since 2015. And then starting off with 1 tennis court and 2 students, 2 crazy parents that decided okay, let's just see what this guy does. And then we've been able to grow the program to over 100 students on an active roster, and then utilizing 3 to 4 courts in the afternoon and early evening. Ever since the closure of Fremont Park, and then obviously the subsequent move of Glendale Tennis Academy, you know, our court time has been restricted predominantly to 1 court, which has forced us to consolidate some of the group classes, which has had a negative effect on the quality of the classes. You know, we would have 20 plus kids spread out on multiple courts, but then now they're just on 1 court. Or we've just had to just outright cancel some classes because we just didn't have the time. As a result, we've lost over 35 of our students. It's had, it hasn't been good. And so, anyways, I'm here. I'm really surprised by just how, like motivated and how quickly and how empathetic everyone in the city has been. I've always heard like bad stories about, I don't know, like public places taking forever and no one really caring. But yeah, anyways, it's like that's why I'm here. I'm here, hoping that you guys establish the fees and that, give us more opportunity to continue to serve the city of Glendale and all the residents and, and that, we continue to make everyone in Glendale proud. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your comment, Coach Joseph. We'll respond in a minute, but we'll also take the phone call that we have.
Yes, the caller's name is Jennifer Pack. Hello, Jennifer. You're on the air with the commission. You have 3 minutes to address them.
Wonderful, thank you. My name is Jennifer Pack, and our 2 daughters have been coached by independent instructor Mr. Joseph Kim for the last 4 years. I am here today to support establishing fees for impacted tennis instructors to rent out courts in Oakmont. The lessons provided by Mr. Joseph Kim, his father, and his tennis instructors have been vital in providing our daughters with an active outdoor activity to supplement activities at their primary school. And the closure of the Fremont courts has caused significant interruptions in our daily tennis plans, our lessons, and have resigned our daughters to fewer weekly hours of physical outdoor activity. It has impacted us by restricting our daughters' involvement in training during a critical time in their level of progress. They had been training to compete in tournaments, which would then help establish long-term goals, not only in performance, but in positions that would offer them better opportunities for admissions into prospective schools that offer these specific sports programs. And so with the increased ability in tennis, our daughter's interest in learning the game has increased significantly in the past couple of years. And I'm concerned this interruption will negatively impact our community's growth in tennis in the same fashion. So this tennis school, it's important to us due to the relationships our girls have established with their coaches. I can attest that most families in the community feel the same. He's a coach we trust wholeheartedly with our children, as he genuinely cares about their well-being and their personal growth, both mentally and physically. So therefore, it is our family's hope that that independent tennis instructors, such as Mr. Joseph Kim, be allowed to rent courts to continue their instructions without further delay. Your consideration would be greatly appreciated, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks.
Ms. Moreno Hernandez, any other callers?
No other callers or cards.
Great, thank you. So yes, I did want to recognize that we received a number, maybe a dozen or so of public comments before this meeting via email. And they were specifically from parents of children who were impacted by this overflow of tennis players that used to play at Fremont Park, but now have moved to other tennis courts in Glendale that are now impacting our instructors and kids who are taking classes at some of our parks. So we really appreciate all of the comments we have received. We appreciate Coach Joseph, the caller, for coming out, calling in to share your stories with us. We've recognized the impact. We definitely want to remedy it somehow. And also, again, appreciate your legacy work and for bringing your dad here. It sounds like, an amazing family business, because you're really creating community, which is amazing that it's happening at our parks. So thank you. I also just want to recognize that this is, probably going to be an ongoing problem as our population here in the city increases, and we, I hope that we continue to actively look for more public space, and hopefully with our master plan, public space master plan in the works, we'll be able to identify those locations where we can have more tennis courts, more all of the above recreational facilities that our population needs to thrive. So I'll open it up to my colleagues again for any other comments and questions. Sure, go ahead, Commissioner Cofan.
My recommendation will be to go to the public. A lot of houses in Glendale, they do have private tennis courts. If there are volunteer homeowners that they can provide these coaches while we're remodeling the Fremont Park, that would be a good idea. Is there a way to let them know that they can volunteer such a thing?
President Alcazar, members of the commission, that is a good idea, but the concerns that the homeowners will have is the liability portion. Having non-residents and private citizens entering their property and playing an active sport, that'll increase their liability. And I'm sure the homeowners won't want that liability on them if something were to happen. That's something that we can research. But I believe the liability would be an issue for the homeowners to provide their private residences as a place to play tennis.
First of all, as Gabrielle knows, I want to just say that as a commissioner, we feel bad, or I feel bad, because, you know, we, of course, were excited about renovating Fremont, and it never occurred to us that there would be this impact in this way. And so, you know, we were just like, oh my gosh, I was like, oh, I didn't even know this was happening. And, you know, so I just want to put that out there, that it's good that people took the initiative to contact the city and to contact the commission, because how are we supposed to know? Sometimes we don't know what's going on, and so we need to be informed, educated by the parties that are being impacted as to what's going on. And we don't always realize that there's going to be those ripples in the pond. So, I just, for my part, I don't know if anybody else has any additional comments of discussion, but I'm ready to move.
Any other comments? Go ahead, Commissioner Meek.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a very admirable that we're able to open up a few courts. I wish we could open up a few more, but it doesn't seem like we have the space to do that, except for, you know, maybe in a very limited basis, like maybe at Glorieta Park, tennis park at, you know, between 8 and noon or something like that. But other than that, I think what we're doing is fine. If we could open up a couple other courts at a time when the tennis pros would want to use them, that would be great too. Otherwise, I agree, and see if anybody else has any questions.
Great. Do you want to?
No, I move that we, approve the fee schedule for a temporary use until the Fremont Park courts are again available.
Well, I'm going to second it, and I'm glad you took the responsibility of not knowing what's going on. This has been out since 2014,
Yeah.
remodeling, or
President Alcazar, members of the commission, I just wanted to clarify, the resolution doesn't specify that it is temporary. I know in the report we mentioned that we wanted to keep the fees in case there's ever any other construction that impacts instructors. And so I wanted to specify whether you wanted to include that it's specific to this closure or not, because the resolution doesn't currently state that.
Maybe I missed it. Does the resolution say that it's for any case of displacement, or does it just, is it?
It doesn't specify that it's for any displacement specifically. It just establishes the fees.
President Alcazar, members of the commission, the intent behind establishing the fees was for it to be in our fee schedule and not have to come back to commission every time we need to use it. But at this time, in asking for the fees to be approved, it would be specific to the Fremont closure, which is, we are now aware is impacting instructors. But Iris is correct in that the resolution does not specify that it's a temporary fee or that it's specific for the Fremont closure, because there will be from time to time similar situations. But I think, again, at the will of the commission, we could either come back to charge the fees, or if you're comfortable with us making that decision administratively, we would decide when it would be appropriate to use it. But on our part, at least for my tenure here, and I think our director would agree, it's only to be used in situations where we have a construction that is going to impact an instructor, similar to the situation we have. But again, the resolution as it states doesn't specify that. But if you'd like to add that to the resolution, we can make that amendment.
If I understood you, it's in the case of a construction or something like that, that closes some courts. So once Fremont's back up, these courts could still be available for an instructor to use those courts and rent them, even though Fremont's back open?
Commissioner Meek, no. So the intent is not to leave it open as a court that will be available to rent. It's only to assist in reducing the impact that's been caused by the construction. So once Fremont is back up, the intent will for these courts to become community courts like they were before, not rented. And let's say, something happens and the Montrose courts have to go under construction in the future, and Montrose currently has classes that are being offered. If the instructor from there, which is a contract class instructor, is displaced, then we could consider using these fees to be able to rent courts to them or do something similar, or the Glorieta courts. So it's intended to use in situations where there will be impact to an existing court that is managed by a vendor or has an instructor. So it wouldn't be open to just rent to new instructors or existing instructors that might not want to continue using an existing court that's, let's say, managed by a vendor. So the intent is not to bring in new instructors, because again, these courts, unless the direction is to continue to rent them out for whatever reason, but the intent on staff's part is not to take away the community courts. It's just to temporarily use them. But I'm sure, Oakmont Community, for example, is using the courts and will be impacted. So I'm sure they'll appreciate having that court back in the future when Fremont's no longer under construction. Because when Fremont does finish construction, we will RFP that out and a new instructor will come in, and anyone's free to submit a proposal at that time. So we don't know who it will be, but whoever does end up managing Fremont, they will now make that park available for instructors to teach at as well. So
the instructors, for example, Mr. Kim, would be told that, hey, Fremont's opening, so you'll no longer be able to use Oakmont or Emerald Isle. You'll go back to Fremont.
Correct. So
Okay.
At this meeting, we are making it public and letting him know that once Fremont opens up, he'll either need to move to Fremont or go back to Shoal, or between now and Fremont opening, he will need to find a permanent
Right.
home, because this can't be a permanent home.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll just amend my motion to just simply say we're approving the
Resolution.
resolution. Yeah. I move that. Thank
And I'm seconding.
Can I ask a clarification really quick before we vote? Administering this fee would completely be up to the discretion of the department, is what I'm hearing. Yes, and identifying, like, the intention right now, I understand, is because of the displacement of the Fremont courts. But there's nothing to say that if we wanted to implement this, an instructor from renting another court and the department is okay with it, we could just say yes?
President Alcazar, yes. Essentially, that's what it is. The director, at his discretion, would be able to make other courts available should it be in the best interest of the community, whether it's by impact of another construction or at this time, the instructor that spoke is the only instructor that we've heard from that has been impacted. So the intent is not necessarily to, again, open up all the other courts and invite new instructors or instructors that might look at this and say, well, I'd rather go teach over there. That's not the intent, because at this point they have been accommodated, have been happy. We haven't heard from anybody else, and it seems like everything's working out well in that regard. Joseph and his father were the only instructors that we had heard from that were impacted, where Glendale Tennis Academy wasn't able to accommodate them to the extent that they had courts available. So again, because we didn't want to have to come back to commission every time, we're making this, but it will just be an administrative decision by the director.
Got it. Understood. And one more question. Would this adoption of this fee change Glorietta's and Shoal Canyon's fee structure?
President Alcazar, no. The fee structure will not change at Glorietta or Shoal. Shoal, the fees will be set by Glendale Tennis Academy. And as part of the agreement, we have asked that we review the fees whenever there is a change in fees. And Glorietta is under contract, and so is managed by a vendor. So the city would hear from the vendor if the fees were to increase. So this fee structure would not impact Glorietta or Shoal.
Got it. Okay. I guess it doesn't specify that it's specifically for, right? Again, so I just want to make sure that the resolution is defensible, I guess, since it, again, doesn't specify specific parks. And I don't know how that would conflict with the contract. But maybe
President Alcazar, if I'm not mistaken, legal should have reviewed this resolution. If they haven't, we will make sure that they do review it before it is signed. But it's intended to be for open community courts that are currently not under contract. So Glorietta, we have a contract with a vendor. So it's outside of, we look at that as an agreement in place with the city for the vendor to run, just like Fremont was with Glendale Tennis. Same thing with Shoal Canyon. We have an agreement, a 40-year lease agreement with American Golf. And so GTA, the Glendale Tennis Academy, is essentially subleasing from American Golf. And so they, again, are outside of all the community courts. So the fees that we're establishing are for city-run courts that are not under agreement to be run by a vendor.
Okay. Got it. Understood. Thank you. And it's just a few $5 difference, so I don't think it'll be a huge issue. I think $15 is pretty reasonable. So I think we can go ahead and vote on the motion that is on the table.
Sure. Commissioners Kalfayan,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Sardarbagian, Wolfson,
Yes.
President Alcazar.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is item 8, reports information only. At A is Capital Improvement Program, CIP update.
Hi, good afternoon, President Alcazar, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Gonzalez, Park Planner for the city, and I'm here to provide the Capital Improvement Program update. This is about a 6-month update since the last time we provided this update was in June. So we'll provide an update of what's occurred the last 6 months. So starting with completed projects, we did want to highlight 3 projects that have been completed in the last 3 months, starting with Brand Park motorway improvements, court resurfacing at Emerald Isle Park and Pacific Parks, and lastly, Verdugo Park mural. So starting with Brand Park motorway improvement project, this improvement project was needed to address rockfall and erosion, hillside erosion issues, along the Brand Park motorway. This project was specifically needed because it was nearby a transmission tower, and so this intensive spider mesh system was required to stabilize the hillside. And I mentioned, so this budget for this project was over $1 million and was completed in November. And so Part of the reason why this was so expensive and intensive was because it required the drilling out of these very deep holes, I think 10 feet deep, installing these piles into the hillside, and then connecting the mesh on top of it. Obviously, there's other erosion control, like using geomeshes or stabilizing with landscaping. But again, because of the nearby transmission towers, this was necessary. So this project was completed, and the motorway is back open as of November, I believe it was 17th. Yes. Moving on to the court resurfacing, we did complete court resurfacing at 2 sites, Emerald Isle Park and Pacific Park. So at Pacific Park, we did resurface and restripe the basketball court, and it was restriped for dual use as 2 pickleball courts, and then there was 2 additional pickleball courts striped outside of the basketball court. And then at Emerald Isle, we did do the 2 tennis courts, which we were just discussing, and then the half-court basketball court, which you can see on the right in the image, and the basketball hoop was also replaced. This was completed for just under $44,000 in October. And here you can see on the top left the picture at Emerald Isle, completed resurfacing, and on the right is at Pacific Park. And lastly, we did want to highlight at Verdugo Park, the mural by Aaron Miller Ray called Color Everywhere was completed on the south facility building. You can see the picture on the image of the completed mural on the right. This mural was sponsored by the Arts and Culture Commission in partnership with Library Arts and Culture and our own Community Services and Parks Department. Moving on to projects in the construction phase, we have Fremont Park renovation project, which we did discuss, causing some of these interruptions in recreational use. Pacific Park, the shade and water play feature project, and then Dunsmore Park parking lot improvement project. So starting with Fremont Park, again, it's a project that has been in development for over 10 years. This project will add new community buildings, an artificial turf soccer field, a splash pad, picnic pavilions, picnic tables, benches, parking, new tennis shade structures and tennis court benches, as well as renovating the children's play area, lining irrigation, the basketball courts, and landscaping, among other improvements. In total, the project budget since inception is $26,697,245. The construction began in November and is expected to be completed in February 2025. On the right, you can see an image of a check presentation event that was held on October 4th, held by Assemblymember Laura Friedman, who was able to get a member request allocation of $933,000 for the project. And here is a picture of the master plan of proposed improvements. This master plan is also available on our website for further review and evaluation. Next, wanted to highlight the Pacific Park Shade Water Play Feature and Restroom Renovation Project. This project will provide a new shade structure over the playgrounds, also shade structures at the pool area. You can see the renderings of those shade structures on the right. Actually, I believe now the curved shade structure will now be a flat shade structure, the new ones, but there are existing ones that are curved that will be refurbished at Pacific Park Pool. Total construction budget is $3.4 million in CDBG, DIF, Measure S, and CIP funds. These renovations did begin about a month ago and will continue through spring 2024. Just noting that the playground will be closed through this entire renovation process, and the pool will be closed for 6 to 8 weeks for a time frame to be determined, but the rest of the park will remain open during construction. Dunsmore Park parking lot improvement project will focus on reconstructing the parking lot. It would also include some sidewalk repair and accessibility improvements. Just noting that the construction will occur in phased processes. So the upper parking lots were just closed last week for construction, and then the phase 2, which will be the lower parking lot, will be closed starting next week on December 21st through January 9th. But I will note that the park will remain open during construction. It's just the parking lot that will be closed. Next, just highlighting the 3 projects that we have currently in permitting phase, which is Sports Complex Field 3, Verdugo Park North renovation, and Emerald Isle Playground replacement. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Sports Complex Field number 3 artificial turf project. It was approved it actually went through permitting in 2021, but because of the delays due to requests through council to do a artificial turf assessment, the project was delayed about 2 years, but we are on course to restart this project. It has been resubmitted for permit approvals again, and we're expecting by first quarter to have permit approvals and then to move forward with the construction contracting. Just noting that we did receive $1.75 million through the fiscal year 23-24 CIP appropriations. Next, the Verdugo Park North project. The scope is to replace the existing restroom with a new building that will include a small community room. This will also construct a passive meditation maze where the current playground is located and include community garden improvements and additional picnic tables. Total construction cost will be $2.845 million in CIP and DIF funds. And we just submitted the third resubmittal and permit plan check resubmittal in October. We're expecting that the permits will be issued in first quarter next year, and then to move on to bid for construction. So next project in permitting is Emerald Isle Playground replacement. So this will replace the playground at Emerald Isle Park and provide ADA improvements. I'm just noting I highlighted there was a change in the awarded value of the Prop 68 grant. So we noted that in red that it was slightly larger than what was highlighted in the report. But a total of $866,987,000 has been appropriated to develop the playground project, which is currently in permitting, and we're hoping will be constructed in the first half of next year. And then we have 9 projects that are currently in the planning phase, which I'll go through quickly. And you can see they're dispersed throughout the city, including Pacific, the natural grass, and also the artificial turf projects. Piedmont Park Improvement Project. There's a restoration project at Stengel Field out there at Verdugo. An Edison easement proposed project we're referring to as Glorieta Nature Park. The Central Park Master Plan process, the Babe Herman Field restroom improvements, the Glorieta tennis building concession building improvements, and then the dog park study. So the Pacific Park Natural Grass Project, again, will reconstruct the natural grass field. You see the graphic on the right, which was designed as artificial turf that we're updating to now just be natural turf. DVD is nearing completion of the 60% drawings, and we're hoping by the spring to be submitting for permitting. This project has a project budget of just over $1 million. The artificial turf project is to completely renovate the artificial turf field at Pacific Park. It will address stormwater issues as well. The DG issues that are an issue around the perimeter of the field, which has DG migrating onto the field. We're hoping to address that issue, and also the seating that's right now located right behind the goalpost has tended to be an issue at the park, and also increasing the height of the fence on the north side facing Vine Street as many balls get kicked over that fence frequently. Currently, there's $150,000 that's been allocated for the design, and we're anticipating another $500,000 to be approved in the CDBG budget for next fiscal year. Currently, we released an RFP for landscape services. We received 2 proposals, and we're anticipating taking recommendation in January to award that design contract and potentially request additional appropriation to complete the design process. Piedmont Park Improvement Project. Public Works is currently leading a design process to increase the size of Piedmont Park and address street improvements at Piedmont and Lexington. So this project currently has $150,000 budgeted. The city did release an RFP that received 2 proposals, and Public Works is reviewing those now. We anticipate the design work to begin early next year. The restoration of Stengel baseball fields, as was mentioned previously, $2 million was awarded to the city through the state budget, and it's anticipated, I believe tomorrow, that a resolution will be brought to the city council to accept those funds, submit a grant application to accept those funds, and to authorize execution of all agreements to move forward that project. Currently, the project stakeholders, including GUSD, Glendale Community College, the city, and also the Save Stengel Foundation is finalizing the scope of work for that $2 million. And you can see the suggested improvements that have come through those discussions so far, which include covering the batting cages, lighting upgrades, irrigation upgrades, among others, to support that field improvement. And so once those are finalized, we'll bring that back to the commission to understand kind of what improvements will occur there. Next, just want to highlight and the Southern California Edison easement above Glorieta Park. The city is currently negotiating a lease agreement to transform that underutilized 2 parcels into a passive park totaling 2.32 acres. There's an initial concept plan that we have developed, that you can see on the right, which we have submitted as part of the lease agreement. And we're anticipating that SCE will approve the lease agreement in early January, and then we'd move forward with concept development of the project if approved. The Central Park Master Plan. So this is a project being led by Public Works to reimagine the Central Park site, which is located, which is bounded by, I guess, the Central Library and the ARC Center and the future Armenian American Museum, which is, you can see the renderings on the right of this slide. The new Central Park will include playgrounds, paseos, and a central lawn open space. The project has been allocated $2.25 million in DIF funds so far for this master planning through design process. And so the design of the park was kicked off in March 2023. And by March 2024, it's anticipated that we'll complete construction drawings and move forward with, I guess, that permitting and bidding that out for construction. I note too that with, in partnership with the Arts and Culture Commission, we are looking to install a mural, or sorry, a sculpture at that location, which you can see here on the right. On the left is the latest concept plan, which has been slightly updated since the master plan. Some of the changes include the paseo leading from Colorado Street between ARC and the Armenian American Museum has been updated. Now the Sister Cities Monument will be along that corridor, as well as more landscaping. The sculpture landmark is anticipated to be off Louise, off the Louise entrance, just north of the drive-in area in that area. So here you can see the larger master concept plan. And if there's any more questions, we can highlight more of these areas as well. Next, Babe Herman Field Restroom ADA improvements. This will be a complete rehabilitation of the existing restroom at Babe Herman, as well as some accessibility improvements. Currently, we've been appropriated $300,000 in Measure A funds. We're anticipating requesting an additional $150,000 when this project goes out to construction. And just as an update in the design phase, we are anticipating completed construction drawings by January, and then going out to bid hopefully by March. Glorieta Concession Building renovation. So this is the complete replacement of the existing tennis concession building. On the bottom right, you can kind of see an outline of the existing building in reference to the new building that will be replacing it. You can see it's a larger building that will include a gathering, or I think a gathering space, in addition to the concession space that will be there. Final designs should be completed by January and submitted for permitting. And lastly, just an update on the dog park. On March 7th of this year, council approved the feasibility study for a dog park at 3 locations. In North Glendale, we looked at Brand Park, just south of the Tea House, and in South Glendale, we looked at Palmer Park and GCC Garfield Campus. Utilizing the $60,000 that was encumbered for that feasibility study, we brought the final report to council on December 5th, and they provided direction to engage GCC on developing that site for the dog park, if possible. And so our city manager will be engaging with their board of trustees on that possibility, and we're hoping to go, I believe, in March to their board to discuss the project. Also to evaluate a potential temporary park at Palmer Park, if possible. So that's something else we'll be looking into. And lastly, to continue to look at for other sites for possible dog parks within the city, which will be something else that we continue to look into. And just highlighting lastly, projects that don't have any updates as of since June include the land acquisition for new parks, which was appropriated additional $2 million in last year's or fiscal year 23-24 CIP budget. Additionally, Adams Square playground replacement and Cerritos splash pad and restroom replacement. We have submitted applications to Measure A to start initiating those projects. So that's moving forward. Next step would be going to council to appropriate those funds. And then regarding the Civic Auditorium wood floor replacement, we're currently looking at moving forward that project either directly or through with Public Works. So that's an ongoing project. That concludes my update to the commission. I'm available for any questions or comments.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. I had a quick question about, for example, the land acquisition and actually the budget, right, this slide, for this fiscal year. And so, yeah, specifically for the land acquisition for a new park, if that is not utilized within this fiscal year, how does it roll over? Does it need to be reallocated by council? I see you shaking your head.
President Alcazar, members of the commission, the budget will be rolled over. So that $2 million that we have is in our CIP fund. We have an additional $2 million in DIF. So we have $4 million in funds for land acquisition for a new park. And that's not including our fund balance of DIF. We have a very healthy fund balance of DIF as well. And we're actively looking for new land in South Glendale, working with our friends over at Community Development to see if there is any opportunities to purchase land in South Glendale.
Great, thank you. Any other commissioners have questions? Oh. Go ahead, Commissioner Meek.
Hi, I'm going back to Fremont Park, and I just visited there recently and saw the demolition phase, I call it. And when this was proposed to us, they were going to save as many trees as they could and then get rid of the palm trees. Well, from the center of the park east, all the trees are gone except all the palm trees are still there. And I was wondering, I spoke with our forester who said something about they plan to transplant some of those, but he seemed to think they were going to transplant them in Fremont Park and not other places. I'd like to know or find out what's going on with that.
Yeah, and I know that our urban forester did meet out with the project manager and went over the tree protection plan. But in terms of which trees are...
He talked about the oak trees that, you know, and showed them how to protect that and the canopy and things. But they didn't really talk about the other trees. And he noted that the palm trees were still there. So I was there one evening during a windy night, and the palm trees that were taken down by the tennis court had dropped about 35 palm fronds directly where 4 people had just moved out of their way.
Wow.
And this was like a 35-foot drop, so they would have really harmed people if they would have hit them. But that was just one thing we all were shocked by. But at the same time, since they are not native, that's one of the reasons they were going to not leave them there and go more toward native plants or similar to native plants. Yeah, I'd like to then go on to the Glorieta easement, Southern California. And my question was on number 10, the pedestrian crossovers. Do you have any idea how those are going to be utilized, or we're not that far yet?
Yeah, we're not that far yet. It's more a conceptual plan just to get approval and then we have to move forward with a
I can't
design.
trap you here? Okay, all right. I said, well, they got to get across that road.
And we do recognize that Kenyatta is a very busy street, and
Yeah.
and that a crosswalk may not be sufficient.
Yeah, I am looking forward to that since I heard about some money that might be available for that. So I'm hoping that that comes through in the next year, that we get that information. And on the Central Square, Central Park, that's what, would you tell me exactly where that sculpture is going to be again? I kind of wasn't sure.
So it's just off Louise, just north of those colored squares. I don't know if you can.
You mean like the pink, the blue, the purple,
Yeah.
yellow?
So there's a tree shown right above that. So the tree is not going to be installed after all, and that entrance is actually going to be framed by this art piece.
Okay, so that entrance from Louise will be going through that sculpture?
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know if through like how it's showing it. There is some concern if you see where he's standing just to the left
yeah,
of him. That could potentially be an ADA issue if like there's something that's over 4 feet that doesn't have a threshold at the bottom, because someone who couldn't see that could potentially just walk right into it if they have a guide or something. So there may be some constraints here, but I know Public Works is working with the artist to finalize that.
okay. And do we have any other timeline for the Glorietta Park rebuilding? Do we think that will be done in 2024?
I know the drawings will be done in hopefully first
I
quarter.
don't really mean to trap you. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to get information here.
At this point, until we go through permitting, I can't be sure about when construction
Okay.
could start and then how long that process would take.
Okay, well, I'm sure it'll come back to us again. Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Go ahead.
I have
Commissioner
just
Wilson.
a couple, it's not even a question, I'm just hoping that the playground replacement at Emerald Isle and some of the other improvements that are being made where we're talking about allowing the tennis lessons, I hope that won't impede their ability to hold their classes.
Yeah, the Emerald Isle playground should not impact any of the other recreational uses.
Okay.
And actually, the Emerald Isle tennis courts have been resurfaced, so
I noticed that, yeah. Thank you.
No other questions? Thank you so much again, Mr. Gonzalez. I know we have other reports on the agenda. We go to 8B.
Correct. Next is 8B, Park Services Section Monthly Activity Report for October 2023.
Chris,
Sorry, Chris, can you turn on your mic? Thanks.
The Park Services section completed 162 work orders for non-routine repair and preventative maintenance tasks in the month of October as follows. The groundskeepers completed 92 work orders, pesticide applicator completed 3, and the irrigation crew completed 67 work orders for a total of 730 and 3/4 hours. And now I will present the report, the projects that were done during the month. At the Catalina Verdugo Adobe, we installed the sign for the Oak of Peace dedication. You can see the crew, Eric and Felipe, they're working on getting the footing set for the brand new sign. And the Oak of Peace is right behind it. This was done about a week before the presentation, so we covered the sign so it could be revealed during the ceremony. As you can see there, there's a close-up of the sign with the oak tree right behind it. And then at the Glendale Sports Complex, we added a bottle-filling drinking fountain at the soccer fields, which is great because we didn't have any drinking fountains over at the soccer fields, the artificial turf soccer fields at the time. And that's the location. It's sort of right in between the two fields. And there's Anthony working hard to get the site prepped for that. So you can see where it is. It's kind of lined up with on the edge of one field. There they are digging for the drainage. And this is tapping into the potable water line so that we could get water to the brand new drinking fountain. And there's the shutoff valve. There they are getting ready to prep the drainage with gravel in the drainage pit and compacting the trench so that we wouldn't have any possible settling of the trench if balls were to go in there and soccer players would go in. There's backfilling and compacting of the trenches right there. There's where the plumbing done, and they're ready for the drinking fountain, which then required, we put a slab around it because it does have multiple points where, it's got ADA standard and bottle filling. So we put a good enough slab around it where a couple kids could stand on it and get their water. They are pouring the concrete and finishing the concrete, and there it is. They're prepping the drinking fountain and getting it ready for use. There it is, completed. So this is really good. They got many compliments and thanks from the soccer players at the time for putting that there. So that was great for them while they were working on it. At Brand Park, there was some erosion and prepping for rain work that we needed to get done. So there's Felipe moving a lot of soil that could possibly wash out onto the road. And this is on the east side of the park by the playground. Last year we had some runoff with the larger storms, and so they got prepared for this early. I'm very happy with the way the guys got on this so quickly. And so they cleared it off there. That should be really good for the upcoming rains. It'll get its test, I believe, on Wednesday. And then they pulled all the soil down Kinney, and that's Felipe there. And they pulled it down onto the road so that then they could pick the soil up and then haul it to another site within the park and then spread that soil. You can see right there's a big drainage swale, and that comes down from the trail that leads to the 7 trees up top, and that needs to be cleaned fairly regularly. It had a lot of buildup from this year, or last year, I'm sorry, and this was kind of neat. I liked it because the irrigation crew here got to work with the guys in the yellow shirts, which is the Glendale Youth Alliance. So it was a team effort, and I really liked, they got it done pretty quickly and really cleanly. I mean, this is going to drain very nicely, and we won't have the erosion that we had before. Also, with the trail work that was done on the 7 Trees Trail, we won't get nearly the erosion we had before. So hoping for a really good storm season without a lot of cleanup. There's in the process there. At Maryland, we had some pretty heavy graffiti. They kind of went in and did a lot of different areas. As you can see, that was not us trying to cover it. That was someone trying to paint the table black. We have no idea why. And there's Felipe. They did a really nice job. The tables looked absolutely beautiful, like brand new when they were finished. So there's the graffiti having been covered up. And at Glen Oaks, this was a mainline break that we had. This was really good because it was leaking, and they got on it really quickly. We like to get on those things very quickly because of the fact that you wind up losing so much water on these slow leaks that it can be even worse than the larger leaks. Also at, sorry, that was that work. At Glen Oaks, they mulched a lot of planters there and did some replanting. This is the area at the entrance to the park where the park sign is. And they took care of some weeds and mulched it. Again, this is sort of in preparation for the rains that are coming, that we can keep the weeds down and without having to manually remove them or spray them. And this is a new planting that they did at the park sign. If you've been by there, you can see on the top left, that was pre-planting. And then the work being done, that's Elisa right there, planting plants. And at the bottom, that's the finished product. If you've been by there lately, it's growing in really nicely. And it looks really, really good. And while they were doing this, I was pretty excited because they said a lot of neighbors were coming over and taking pictures of it while they were doing it. So they did a beautiful job. Jesus picked out all the plants to make it really nice. So that park is really looking beautiful right now. And that's that really nice seating area there, and it's all mulched, and it is really a nice place to go. And there, we did some irrigation work there as well. That's Francisco doing, we had to move some irrigation and repair it. So there was a lot of work that was done around Glen Oaks Park. That's the work being completed right there. And that was along by the tennis courts, actually. And at Maple Park, this is another drinking fountain project. We're assisting the facilities maintenance folks by, helping install the bottle filling drinking fountains. And you can see this drinking fountain in the picture is very, very old. It was in a state of disrepair. That's not how it looked. They took it apart because they needed to access the plumbing. That's not the way it was. So that's the plumbing as it was. Behind it, that's the bottle filling drinking fountain. It also has a dog bowl, so that thing's really multi-purpose. It's very nice. And there it is installed. That was done by the irrigation crew, Francisco and Anthony. So that's a really nice addition to Maple Park, and they've installed 8 of those throughout the parks by now. And then at Fremont, I'm going to show you some pictures of the demo, but that's not the point. Here's the demolition going on. This is early in the demolition phases, so that's a lot of the concrete that had been piled up. They're getting ready for recycling. And this is across the street. This is on Patterson there. That's the auxiliary parking lot for Fremont Park. And what we've done is that has been turned into the sort of Fremont mini park at the moment, because there were so many people that were going there that we've provided a little bit of seating for them over there. There's not a lot of shade, but we moved 14 tables over there, provided a porta potty, and so you can see some people in the background that are actually sitting there. So we do have a bit of a mini park and at Fremont Park, so it helps out a little bit. I think a lot of them have gone to Pelanconi at this point. That's what we're seeing, a lot more usage
When
at
I was
Pelanconi Park.
there 2 days ago, the tables were pretty full.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good news, because we tried to get them in the shade. The guys were being very particular about where they wanted to move the tables so that they could get them in as much shade as possible, but not too much near the neighboring house to the west so that they wouldn't get disturbed by the noise. And plus, we noticed that they had large dogs that bark when people get over there, so we tried to keep them away from that fence there so we wouldn't disturb the neighbors with this. So I'm glad to hear that it's being well used. That's good to hear. So that concludes our projects, if you have any questions.
Thank you for that report. I have no questions. Does
I had
anyone else?
one question on the work completed, that it was on October 2nd, picked up the bamboo panels from the tea house for Chris.
Yeah, that was my request.
Something wrong? Did something happen to them?
Oh, no. Those are bamboo panels that we made years ago for tea ceremonies. And like when they have the tea ceremonies outside, so those panels, we store them down at the pub at our yard, and we take them up and temporarily install them for outdoor tea events. But it's nothing that's a permanent part of the tea house. It was just, they're decorative.
It just stuck out to me. What a minute. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate all the new water fountains.
Oh, you're
I'm
welcome.
sure our residents will
Yeah, the
definitely
public
utilize it.
is really enjoying those. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say thank you for getting the lights fixed at the mini park before our caroling event, since we had like 4 of them out.
Yes.
It really, really helped a lot. Thank
I'm
you.
glad to hear that, and I was really happy to hear that the caroling event went well.
I was too.
That was good. So thank you
My
very
throat
much.
still hurts from singing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Director.
Chair Alcazar, members of the commission, I know Chris was talking about water fountains. They installed a number of water fountains, but I do want to thank and recognize Glendale Water and Power because we had reached out to them and asked if they would purchase the water fountains due to our water conservation efforts, our park users filling water bottles and so on. And sure enough, they did purchase, I believe, 14 or 15 water fountains, and we went ahead and installed them. So many thanks to our friends over at Glendale Water and Power for the sponsorship in purchasing those fountains.
Ex officio commissioner. It's a very long title. Good work, Ian. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a question about the water fountains themselves. Like, how often are they? I guess, like, what's the maintenance process for those? Like, when especially like the dog bowl and it gets dirty, and if it rains and I don't know, weeds and whatever. How are those maintained throughout the city?
The groundskeepers check those daily. What we found is that, and not completely sure why, but kids really like to put dirt in there, and so they do clog up really frequently. And so they go through and they have to clear them daily, in particular like Doran Mini Park. They have to clear that every single day almost. And so they check them every day to make sure they're functioning properly. If there is an issue, the facilities plumber will take care of it. Like if the valve is not working properly or it leaks, the drain might leak inside of the drinking fountain itself, then the facilities guys will come out and fix it. But they're taken care of on a daily basis. They're checked and cleaned because there is a lot of debris that can get into those.
Yeah, and like the sanitation process when they're cleaning this, I guess the water spouts themselves. When they put dirt in there or there's other corrosion or whatever, is there a certain product that's used to make sure that when the water comes out, it's safe enough to drink from those?
No, I think when they put they'll put little pieces of wood in there because then when you turn it on, it'll spray a long way. So it's entertainment. But they really just wipe it down, run water through it for a while, and they'll wipe it down really well so that they're not putting bleach on it or anything like that because it could be harmful to kids. So it's more of just a wiping down and using clean water on it.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question. Thank you for that report again. I think we have one more report. That is item 8C that we can move on to.
Yes, we do. That would be item 8C, Recreation and Community Services Section Monthly Activity Report for November 2023.
Good afternoon, President Alcazar, members of the Commission. My name is Sabah Garabedian, Community Services Manager, and I'll be going over the Recreation and Community Services Section Monthly Activity Report, our November in review, and some upcoming events shortly thereafter that. So let's start with our larger event during the last month. November 30th, we had our annual holiday tree lighting ceremony here at City Hall in Perkins Plaza. The evening began with the Voices of Christmas, caroling. They visited various offices throughout the city and brought holiday cheer to our staff, and then they eventually performed a couple of numbers in front of our audience. The evening attracted about 250 people throughout the night to see our mayor light up the tree, and performances included Mountain Avenue Elementary School primary chorus, Mark Keppel Elementary School choir and dance, Toll Middle School dance, and Revolution Dance Center. Scouts from PAC 360 and Troop 319 assisted with escorting Santa to the event and passing out advent calendars. As we discussed earlier in the meeting, Acorn and Blizzard have returned. They came back to our city on November 23, 2023, just in time to help staff start decorating City Hall in preparation for our holiday tree lighting ceremony. They've been visiting various parks and facilities, promoting various programs and facilities that we have throughout the city. They were going to attend today's commission meeting, but One Glendale is actually having a volleyball game, so they were out assisting our staff, setting up, scorekeeping, and helping the kids. So we'll see their pictures in a couple of days here. We could always follow them on social media by going to our Instagram handle at @MyGlendaleParks. During the month of November, we had Cool Days Thanksgiving break camp, November 20 through 22 at Pacific Community Center. We had a total of 86 participants in the camp, ages 6 to 12 years old. We had Parents Night Out at Pacific on November 17, 2023. For whatever reason, probably because GUSD was off for a week, we think that the numbers were a little lower than normal. Pacific's averaging anywhere from 25 to 30. We only had 9, but even with 9, the kids had a blast. So we will have another Parents Night Out coming up in a couple of days here this Friday. In November, the 12th Annual Glendale Health Festival took place on Saturday, November 4, 2023. This is an event that the city co-sponsors with the Armenian American Medical Society. Them and through their collaborators, they have this event. So the event attracted over 700 people. It was a one-day health festival. It featured blood tests for glucose, cholesterol, and blood pressure, carotid artery screening, bone density screening, vision checks with the ability to get free glasses on site. So prescription glasses were being made on site. Dental screenings, including an X-ray, fillings, cleanings, extractions. They offered men's health services, women's health services, mental health services, flu shots and COVID shots through LA County, and prescription medication disposal. Numerous doctors are also on site doing one-on-one consults with privacy area in case that consult required checking out something on the body. And like I said, over 700 people attended that one-day event. That event actually takes 3 days. It's a Friday setup all day. Saturday morning is continuing with setup, all-day event, and then Sunday is cleanup. Library on Wheels visited Maple Park in coordination with Glendale Library Arts and Culture. They have a mobile library van, and that library van has been visiting Maple Park every Wednesday. So the last time they were at Maple was on November 22nd. The next time they will be at Maple will be December 13. The library staff bring the vehicle, do a organized story time, crafts, and activities. Our Trails and Open Space program on November 4th, 63 hikers participated in the Superstition Night Hike. It was a fun evening of hiking and discussions on superstitions and their origins. On November 11, 3 volunteers worked at the Riverwalk Workday. On November 17, 8 people attended the Friday night lecture, Adobes in Southern California. It was an interesting lecture about the history of local Southern California adobes. Participants learned about Glendale's own Casa Adobe de San Rafael and Catalina Verdugo adobe. On November 18, 24 volunteers participated in the Wilderness Workday at Magian Park. A special thank you to our Northeast Trees for supplying 10 5-gallon Coast Live Oak and 30 1-gallon Coast Live Oak trees. 10 of these trees were planted on November 18, and staff are working to map out all of the trees to make sure they are watered regularly. In addition, tree cookies, slices of wood are provided to people planting the trees to informally name them. Stormbar Nature Center during the month of November, 1,205 guests stopped in to visit the Stormbar Nature Center during the 15 days it was open. Multiple groups visited the facility in November, including 2 field trips from local schools, 73 students from Mountain Avenue Elementary School, and 25 kindergartners from First Steps Preschool participated in field trips, allowing the kids to explore the nature center, take a hike on the trails, and learn about the environment and ecosystems. In addition, a Girl Scout troop came with 9 girls who observed a moth cocoon and bird's nests and went on a sunset hike. The Human Resources Department also utilized the Nature Center for a training in November. The monthly Go Glendale Outdoors Community Program was held on November 11th with 52 participants. The theme of the month was hibernation, and participants were transform into game show contestants for a fun game about how the local wildlife hibernates or how they don't hibernate. After the game, participants were led on a hike on the Vineyard Trail where they searched for burrows, dens, and other signs of animals hibernating. Finally, participants made their own hibernation room out of recycled cardboard boxes. Our One Glendale After School Youth Sports Program went to California State University, Northridge, to watch a women's volleyball game on November 18, 2023. And there was 36 kids who participated in the program. A shout out to Cal State University, Northridge. They've been supporting our One Glendale program by providing free tickets to their home games. Our One Glendale, continuing on with One Glendale, Vertigo Hills Hospital came and provided nutrition classes to our program participants, as well as conducted their pre-volleyball season BMI testing. As we mentioned in the report, the BMI checks are for information purposes only. They're not to ridicule the kid or try to get them to lose weight. It's just to monitor before program and after program. Our regular season volleyball games will continue, and they will continue all the way through Friday, January 12, 2023, when it's the One Glendale Volleyball Season Championship evening at Pacific Community Center and Park, starting at 6:30. Our Youth and Family Services program on Friday, November 3, Viri Flores with LA County Department of Public Health presented Distracted Driving Program. After the presentation, TNO participants had their first ever pop-in movie night. Teens watched the animated film Megamind outdoor on the terrace, again, because on November 3, everything inside was being used by that Glendale Health Festival event. So, on Friday, November 17, TNO continued, and they were able to get community service hours by helping the staff prepare snack packs for the One Glendale Sports Excursion, as well as assisting the staff in resetting up the facility for the upcoming Thanksgiving break camp. And they organized or helped organize the sports closet and took some inventory of our equipment as we transition from one sport to the next. During the month of November, STAR students got into the spirit of thanks and learning what it means to be grateful. They met on November 7, 14, and 25 and 28. Students had a chance to engage with their program sponsors, the Glendale Association of Realtors, who on a monthly basis sponsor the program by providing dinner for the participants. So they provide dinner, they interact with the kids, they discuss whatever topic is relevant, what are they going to do for Halloween, what are they doing for Thanksgiving, the meaning of giving thanks and that holiday. Saturday, November 25, the STAR students went to the California Science Center. After their visit to the Science Center, they went to Cheesecake Factory for lunch. Therapeutic Recreation Maple All Inclusive Playdate took place on Saturday, November 18. Obviously, the theme was going to be Thanksgiving, considering everything is in November, we work around Thanksgiving. Participants were able to make Thanksgiving-themed crafts and coloring books and various activities. On Thursday, November 9, Club Maple held its Thanksgiving Day luncheon or evening through one of our local businesses, Dinah's Chicken. We were able to get meals that we provided to each of the Club Maple participants. We had approximately 80 participants attend the Thanksgiving dinner. CSP, in partnership with Regal Medical Group and Lakeside Community Healthcare, held a presentation for prescription medication and over-the-counter medication. We had a pharmacist on site, and seniors were encouraged to bring their prescription medication and possibly what over-the-counter medication they take, and the pharmacist was reviewing and giving the seniors advice on what medications work or counteract each other, and give them guidance that way. On Wednesday, November 27th, the EMP program had its Thanksgiving luncheon at ARC and at Spar Heights Community Center, and all the participants received a goodie bag prior to the holiday break. In the month of November, 3,417 meals were served for the Congregate Meals Program, the in-person dining, and 1,701 meals were delivered for the home-delivered meals program, the Meals on Wheels program. As of November 30th, 2023, there are 50 seniors in the SSP program, Senior Supportive Services Program. And thanks to a lot thanks to our colleagues throughout the city of Glendale, over 300 bags of non-perishable items were donated to the seniors who are at risk, who are vulnerable, need the additional food and nutrition. So 300 bags all throughout the city of Glendale. We put bags that we were collecting donations for our senior services program, whether it's staff or members of the public who saw those bags, delivered and donated food, and our senior services staff was able to recover that, sort them, and start creating packages. Moving on, upcoming programs and events. As I mentioned previously, Parents' Night Out coming up on December 22, 2023. Currently, as of earlier today, there was about 17 participants, so those numbers are looking up. Once we send a reminder to our parents in our Edison After School Club or our day camp program, that number will get back up to 30. We have Teen Night Out. Teen Night Out is going to have a bit of a break coming up after after last Friday. We are going to go on break and we won't resume until January 12th. That's because we've realized that our teens don't show up to Teen Night Out when GUSD's out on break. And it's expected. Families are going out on vacation or are otherwise involved in other things. So it'll return on January 12th. So on December 15th, we shipped them off with a holiday party. We had a DJ and a dance. Winter break camps will begin on December 26, 2023. Week 1 will be from December 26th through 29th, and week 2 will be January 2nd through the 5th. The city's operating winter camps, as in our department's operating the winter camps at Pacific Community Center, Spar Heights Community Center, and at Duke-Major Wilderness Park. And that's in addition to our contract class program and the day camps the specialty camps we provide through our contract class program at various sites. One Glendale on January 12th. This is the volleyball season championship evening with a consolation game at 6:30 and the championship game at 7:30 p.m. We have Riverwalk Workday coming up on January 13 and on February 10. The Go Community Program will return on January 13 and also on February 10. The homeless count is coming. Volunteers are going to be needed for this event, and all interested volunteers need to attend the training. That training will be held on Tuesday, January 16, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Wilderness Workday will be taking place on January 20th, 2024, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Duke-Major Wilderness Park. Also on January 20th, we have MIP Day coming up at Maple Park. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Beautiful as always. Really appreciate all the smiling faces in all of those photos. So thank you, Mr. Garabedian. Did any other comments, questions? Oh, go ahead. Ex officio, Commissioner Kevorkian.
I can comment. Yeah, thank you very much for that comprehensive report. I think it's so awesome to see how much our city offers for our residents and our kids too, and also for children who are in GUSD and who can really benefit through that partnership to have these opportunities. I was really sad not to meet Acorn and Blizzard, but maybe next time. I was really looking forward to that, but that's okay. I want to give a huge shout out to the people at the Glendale Health Festival. I work at Kaiser, so in healthcare, it's really important that we give back to our communities. So that's one of the main events that I wasn't able to attend, but I really wanted to. But I want to give a huge kudos to our team at KP and Adventist Health Glendale and our local hospitals here, USC, Memorial, because we have many people who are underprivileged here and who don't have the means to go to a physician, and so this is a great way for them to come out in partnership with all these different health services in the city to get those needs met. So thank you to everybody who did that. Shout out to CSUN, my school, for that partnership too. I have to, go Matadors. And then I also want to just, shout out for the elderly services and the meals that we provided for Thanksgiving and for the ongoing support that we, give to our elderly folks in Glendale, which is a large population. I'm sure that many people appreciate that, especially during these holiday seasons. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Well, with that, thank you so much again, Mr. Garabedian. I think we're at adjournment. I want to just give a big thank you again to the department, and I hope everyone has a very happy, safe, and healthy holiday season, and we'll return back in the new year. All right, so it is 4:19, and we can adjourn. Thank you.